Hello, Wassim.
Hello, Valentin. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Wassim, I've had the pleasure to know you for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
You're a software engineer at Microsoft, and you're also a contributor in some open source projects like Angular and Node.js. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I've joined Microsoft 3 years ago, and I'm working as a developer advocate engineer, focusing on JavaScript. And yes, as you mentioned, my background, I've contributed to a bunch of projects, including Node.js recently, and like Angular and AngularJS back in the days.
Oh, yes, you're an important member of the Angular community. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I'm Valentin. I am the webmaster of the programmingidioms.org website, and I'm looking for an expert in the JavaScript language. I think I found the right person for this.
I hope.
So,
Yeah.
Programming Idioms is a website that contains many snippets written in many programming languages. It focuses on idiomatic style, which is the most straightforward and common way to accomplish a specific task in a given language. For example, how shall we stop a program in Go or something else? How shall we split a string on several separators in Perl? Things like that. So, my first question is let me see. Um, JavaScript is used in web pages inside web browsers, as well as server-side with Node.js and Dino, and hundreds of JavaScript frameworks are available on the internet. Are they all using the same ECMAScript language?
So yeah, I would say like thousands of JavaScript frameworks, not only
Yes,
hundreds.
correct.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, there's actually um, as you mentioned, many different versions of ECMAScript. So ECMAScript is like an official name for JavaScript, as like the standard name. And the recent there have been like multiple iteration to the ECMAScript standard, especially recently introducing like many new features to the language. So because of the standardization process is kind of like slow and like moving on a different pace than what the actual browser vendors and Node.js engines are implementing. So there might be like some differences in like what we have in the standard recent, like in the latest release, versus what we have actually in the real world. So there might be some differences. So this is why you will find what we call transpilers or polyfills, sometimes called polyfills. Basically, like these are features implemented in pure JavaScript that will be, add that missing feature from the standard, from the engine or from the browser.
Mhm.
Um, in the other hand, you could find like transpilers like TypeScript and Babel.js, which sometimes like they include polyfills, sometimes they don't. But basically, they allow you to write your JavaScript in the latest standard, and they would do like the heavy work under the hood in order to transpile, like select output, like generate JavaScript code that is valid according to the latest version implemented by browsers. So yeah, that's like a long answer, but yeah, the answer is like the short answer is not all of them are might be using the same version of the latest standard. So that's why some of them are like they include polyfills, and also some of them are also using frameworks. So frameworks can have also like built-in polyfills, allowing you to enjoy the latest features of the language.
Okay, so these frameworks and libraries, for example, Angular or React.js, which are very popular, would you say that idiomatic JavaScript, so vanilla JavaScript,
Mhm.
ECMAScript,
Yes.
is still idiomatic regardless of the target platform and the chosen framework? Is it always a safe bet by default?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the language itself is the same. It is just only like the features, like for instance, I don't have like any like a browser API, for instance, like accessing the page transition API that was recently announced, that's something only provided by the browser. It's not going to change the syntax of the language. And if you're using Angular, React, Vue, or any like library, utility library, that doesn't necessarily change the syntax of the language.
Hmm.
It only gives you like more features. So
Okay.
yeah, I
And
mean,
which is
yes.
okay, cool. Could you please show us the community page at the link that I sent you? I will click add to the stream.
Um, this one, I
Yes,
guess. Yeah.
this one. Great. So the purpose of this page is to suggest some possible contributions. It's useful for people who are enthusiasts and want to contribute but are not sure where to start. So this is basically a random subset of idioms and implementations to review, to enrich, or to create. So the first section, expert validation, it's about reviewing some existing code. Look at these snippets. Do they look correct to you?
Let me read like the first one. Assign to integer and the number of characters of string. Make sure not to byte characters can be a different number of the bytes. Yeah, I would say first one could be correct. If you just need the length of a string,
Hmm.
um, without like manipulating the string, yeah, you could just use s dot length. That would work.
Yes, I think it
But
would. Can you click View Full Idiom? Because I suspect there might already exist several JS implementation for this. So
yeah,
one is using dot dot dot. I don't know if it's idiomatic, and the other one is more simple, like you mentioned, just s dot length. Would you? What is it doing? This first one, is it about destructuring? Is that
yes.
what is it about?
So so basically, a string in JavaScript, like I guess many other languages, could be considered as an array of characters. So you basically can deconstruct those arrays, and then what we're doing here is basically deconstructing this string, and then adding it into a basically merging it with an array, like getting
Okay.
the length. So yeah, again, as I see here, the requirement would be okay. Given a string of a certain number of characters, I would like to have that length. So like the idiomatic um, syntax would be this one, like the
Okay.
second one for me.
Can you
I mean,
confirm that the two are correct and would correctly return a number of what we call characters and not bytes?
yes, I mean the length of a string would return the number of characters.
Okay, even if you use destructuring, it would the e with the acute accent, as we see in this example, would still count only as one character. Is that right?
That's a good question. I think yeah. I mean, the length of a string doesn't count characters. Excuse me, it doesn't count bytes.
Mm-hmm.
You would end up having bytes if you're using let's say what you call typed arrays, like
Yep.
array buffers, for instance. This because
Yeah.
you're working with the underlying byte representation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I would go for the second one.
Okay, cool. We can have a look at another idiom implementation.
Sure.
Recursive factorial. So this one is a little bit special. It's not really about calling a library or a mathematical library that does
Mm-hmm.
some computation. It's just about implementing a recursive function in a simple way. So this
Yes.
the naive way of implementing a factorial.
Mm-hmm.
And this one uses a sort of an arrow notation to create
Exactly.
a JavaScript function. Is it correct and is it idiomatic?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, arrow function or like lambda functions were introduced in the recent one of the recent standards of JavaScript. So that's totally idiomatic, depending again on the like what you're trying to accomplish. For instance, like I would use this kind of syntax inside of an existing function,
Hmm.
and like if I'm basically writing a reusable function, I would probably go for this one. Uh, Both of them are correct, like they give you the same result. It's just, again, when do you use like lambda functions or arrow functions versus when do you use like function expressions.
Maybe
Uh,
when you need the receiver, there's a catch, I think.
can you say that again?
Yes, I think I've heard, but I'm not a JS expert, that if you're using this,
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
identifier, the semantics, the meaning of this identifier is different whether you're inside an arrow function or a regular function.
Yeah, that's correct. Which is not the case here. Thanks
Yeah,
God, but
we're
that's
not
correct.
using
Yeah.
a receiver, yes.
So basically, arrow functions, um, they basically give you what they call the execution context, which is the this context in JavaScript,
Hmm.
which is not the case here. If you're like global versus local scoping on stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in this particular use case, I would say both of them are correct. I would prefer the first one because like most like one line, one liner JavaScript.
Okay, cool.
But
So
again,
can you go back to the other page, the one with the backlog, and
yes,
there's a button mark as good. If you think it's a good one, please mark it. Uh,
yes.
Thank you, Wassim.
Okay, cool.
We can jump to the second section. It shows some existing JavaScript snippets that don't have a link to a documentation page yet
Hmm.
or to a runnable demo yet.
Yes.
And actually, I'd like to know, is there a centralized authoritative doc site for JavaScript?
So I wouldn't say that this is like an official documentation website, but MDN Mozilla
Yeah,
Network, I
that's a
guess.
good one, MDN.
That's like the this most popular, and I trust their documentation 100%. Given they're made by Mozilla,
Hmm.
and so yeah, that's like my go-to documentation website. I have it open here.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, my recommendation is like whenever you need to and like learn about JavaScript, go to that website. If you want to learn about the specifications. So there is the ICMA 262 standardization website where you can get like the core specification of JavaScript,
Specification, yes, that's a
which
little
is
bit.
which is a different thing. But for like user documentations and language documentations, this is like the best resource you can find on the internet.
Okay, cool. And second question, is there some kind of playground where you can write a piece of JavaScript code, execute it, and share it with the world?
Yes, yes. I mean, yeah, in the web ecosystem, there are like tons of playgrounds for JavaScript. There is like Code Sandbox. There is um, JS Fiddle. There's like many of them. However, almost all of them they give you like a playground for JavaScript, mainly in the browser. Like front
Yes.
end JavaScript. I would call it. So if you know like play with Node.js, there isn't a ton of them. One of them that you can use is Stagblades. It's made by some of my friends. So basically, you can run both, like front-end JavaScript with some of the popular JavaScript frameworks, or like vanilla JavaScript, or you can like run a fully fledged, I mean, fully
Oh,
featured,
that's
excuse me,
amazing.
Node.js server. Yeah, definitely check them out.
Cool. Let's try it with our community backlog page. So
Sure.
the first one seems to be missing a documentation link, and it's for a very core feature of the language, which is about letting developers create their own function.
Yep.
So do you think it's easy to find the documentation page for writing a
Uh,
function in JavaScript?
Let me figure that out. Yes. So again, MDN gives you all you need. There's like
Oh, yes.
documentation about how you run functions,
And
and like
browser compatibility. That's awesome.
yeah, also like there's a compatibility table, including
Oh,
Node,
they added a column for Node.js. Is
yeah,
that new?
Node.js and
For Dino too. Amazing.
yep. So MDN would give you that. I guess there is also like a section about like Lambda functions and these other
Cool.
examples.
Maybe we can copy and paste this URL and add it to the idiom implementation.
How can you
So,
do that? Um,
so you click
oh,
add a doc link. It will take you to the edit implementation. If you
okay.
scroll down a little bit, you have a text field for
This one.
Documentation URL, yes. Okay, cool.
Mm.
You remove the hash, nice.
Yeah.
You say in edit summary, you say added doc URL. And you don't need to create an account with a password or whatever in programming idioms. You just contribute by giving a username. So you can write Wassim
This one.
if you like. And here you go. You've edited. You've made a
Save.
contribution. Save, yes.
All right, let's save it.
You see, it's immediate. Your doc link is already there in the top implementation.
Oh,
Thank you, Wassim.
awesome. I like it.
Yeah, thanks. So if you go back
Uh,
to the backlog page, is one of them missing a demo? For example, the first one actually, was there a demo link is in that specific implementation or not? Can you go back to your second tab? Uh,
um,
it's missing a demo. It's very
yes,
simple. Maybe we can create it right now in StackBlitz.
yes. So that was like creating function. Let me go back to just like using pure JavaScript here.
Just JavaScript, fine.
Do you need me to like copy paste the exact
Yes,
same code?
there's a button even in the yes. Please copy paste. Uh,
This one?
this one, yes,
Oh,
perfect.
great. Let me. Okay, see, you know what? I just like go with Node.js because I don't want to need. I don't want to deal with
Yeah,
imports.
because it's not a web thing. Okay.
Yep. So I guess I need to invoke the function in order to
Yeah, that would be
make
awesome. So
sure.
we can
Okay.
visually check that it does work.
So for that, I'm going to use like console log because I want to
Yeah.
print the result. Yeah, like two is easy one. Save. Four. Okay, it's working.
Awesome. There was a command that says if you want to execute, you need to type a
Oh,
node, the command line node index.js. Maybe we can keep that command for future visitors who come to this page.
oh,
Uh,
you mean here? Let me go back. I
yes.
completely, yeah.
No,
All right.
yeah. Okay. But you've lost your code. Hey, that was quick.
I copy pasted.
Yeah,
All right.
amazing. That's perfect. Can you create a permanent link for this resource that you can share in
Yes.
programming idioms?
I think yeah, I can share it publicly with
The
this
link,
link
yes.
here. Copy URL.
Amazing. And we paste it to
Um,
the page. Yes, that's this pencil button for edit.
here.
Yep.
I need to look. Runnable
So
demo. This
time
one.
runnable demo. Yes, this one.
Awesome.
And you
And
have
then
to say
save.
why. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, added demo URL.
Eight. Nice. I see it.
Yeah, thank you. Shall we jump to the third section, which is about idioms that don't have a JavaScript implementation yet?
This one.
For example, yes, create a stack. So stack is a data structure. Some languages have them in the standard library. Some other languages say just use a list or use an array, and you can use it as
Mm-hmm.
a stack. What would be the idiomatic way to achieve this in JavaScript?
The first one. So yes, yeah, as you mentioned in JavaScript, there is this I would say like data structure, which is basically array. So
Yes.
we call them arrays, which I think have it has the same characteristic. So you can push element into that array, and then you can pop the last element from the array. Do you want to like implement one?
So it already has all of the
Yeah,
capabilities, all the features of a stack, plus other ones that you don't usually find in a stack, and you just have to make
yeah, you
sure
can.
not to remove elements in the middle.
So that's the problem. You can, yeah, you can access because since an array, you can access any indices like index from that stack. For I call it an array. You
Yeah.
can like remove them, but there is like I'm not sure there is like in built-in data structure called stack in JavaScript. Otherwise, you will have to create like your own.
Okay.
Um,
Here
yeah.
is what I suggest. We go to Stack Blitz, And we do the very
Yes.
basic thing, which is about just creating an array and then using it as a stack. Um,
Yes. Just let me create a new JavaScript because I don't want to like edit the last one.
exactly, yes.
Let me maybe zoom in a little bit.
Yes. So
So in
maybe add,
JavaScript,
yes, we create it
basically,
with three elements and then we push one and pop one or whatever.
yep, like I have like the three. So I'm calling it stack, but it's not necessarily stack. So basically, you can like push um, for value, and then if you print those elements, you can see like have four
Yeah. In the
values.
end, we will be copy and paste some of that snippet in the other website, Programming Idioms.
Yes,
Can I ask you to name the variable s for stack?
sure.
Okay. Then you would push an element x. So maybe you declare x being equal to 4 and then push it. I like it to make things constant and immutable by default. I really love that.
Yep, me too.
Okay. And then later you would pop an element into a new variable y.
um, S dot pop.
Okay.
All right.
And then
So
we log s again and we log y to prove that we've retrieved the element.
yes, save. Let's execute that again.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. It seems to be working and it does prove that a standard vanilla JavaScript array can be used as a stack very easily, actually.
Yes. Then again, you don't have any like mechanism to protect you against,
Yeah.
for instance,
It is
S.
on the developer to make sure he
Yeah,
doesn't misbehave.
for like delete
Yeah,
an element by accident. I would say.
yeah.
Good.
Uh, that is great. So let us go to the idiom and create a new implementation. It will take maybe a couple extra minutes to
Sure.
create everything needed.
Should I
Yes,
click here?
yes, you can click here.
Okay.
So language JS, yes, we
Yes.
don't need any specific imports. It's just vanilla JS. We
Okay.
will be copy and pasting the code,
Uh,
except that in this specific context, we assume that X already exists. So we delete the declaration of X.
okay.
We
There you go.
just creating the stack, that's the first line, pushing, that's the second line. We remove the logs. We don't need them here.
Yeah.
We keep const y is pop. So that's three lines that showcase the very basic um, core functionality for a stack. So
Yeah.
creating, pushing, and popping.
Do it.
Amazing.
Do you want me to add a new line between each?
You can remove the new lines because it's
Okay.
a very short thing, so I don't think it's needed. We will definitely be adding a code to your demo in Staglitz that we will
Yes.
be creating right now.
Let me share a link. Runnable demo.
Okay,
Um,
cool. And
documentation maybe.
documentation. So either we just link to the array class
Yeah.
in MDN, or maybe if there's any specific page about using an array as a stack, that would be even better. I'm not sure if it exists in the documentation.
No, but I mean, yeah, you could probably find it from the web developer community. Someone has probably published an article. I would just like stick with like an official, I would say, reference.
Just array? Yes, it's fine.
Yeah, I already have like push and pop there.
Push and pop, yes.
Yeah,
That's the core of the feature that we are looking
got
for.
it. We add it here. Oh, they kept my username. That's good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's a nice website.
Uh, I think that yeah, we have all the information available. Good.
Maybe in explain stuff on the right, we can explicitly state that an array is used as a stack, and it's fine, even if it's not a data type that is
Where?
called stack.
Oh,
On
here. Okay.
the right of the code, you can put a comment.
Okay. This is an array used as a stack. Oh,
Okay,
that's
it's
that
fine.
enough? Okay, cool.
Yes, it is. I like it when everything is concise. So you can hit save.
Save.
Uh,
Yay!
yeah, it's a very complete idiom implementation with two links and a snippet that does work. As proven, as demonstrated by the demo link. That's awesome. Thank you, Wassim.
Cool. I like
Yeah,
eggs.
so that was fun and useful. Um, Please don't hesitate to share this video with your friends in
Mhm.
case they would like to contribute too.
I
Thank you
will.
so much for having contributed today, Wassim. See you around.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Bye bye.